What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. Now we're gonna dive into the game we played against Tottenham. So 5 things that we learned from that game, because it was a good game. Well, actually no, it was a shitty game because it was just one man's team. Seems like we were playing ourselves. Like Tottenham yesterday, they were just bad, like really, really, really bad. I've played Tottenham many times and I've won that fixture, but yesterday it was so bad that brings me to my first point. We should have been clinical. We should have scored at least 7 goals in that match. I can count maybe 4 from João Pedro. Neto should have scored from, Gittens' assist. Gittens should have scored from João Pedro's assist. Enzo Fernandez, at some point, he should have scored in that game because I think he was in the box many times that he could have at least be clinical. So Chelsea going forward, we need to be clinical. And I think this is part of the reason why sometimes we don't tend to win games. Sometimes we score 1 goal and then we just can't find a way to score the second goal. Not because we're not creating chances. We will be creating chances, but we won't be finishing them. And I think if you want a challenge for either top 4 or for the league, or if you want to excel into the cup competition, you have to be clinical. I can remember the game that we played against Bayern Munich. We created so many chances in that game. We were actually, maybe I would say, the better team. But because we weren't clinical, we didn't end up winning the game. We ended up losing the game. So Chelsea need to be clinical. Now we can talk about the lack of a striker because obviously Delep was injured and McGill is not the guy, especially when it comes to scoring goals. So João Pedro, as much as we can play him as a 9, we already know that he's not a false 9. He's not an out-and-out number 9. He's a false 9. And most of the times, not even in the box. He's playing as a 10. He's dropping deep into the midfield. So whether it's coming from our strikers or it's coming from our wingers, we all need to be clinical if we want to win games. Now, my number 2 point, I got to give credit to Wesley Fofana. Now, this guy, he might be a bad driver, but he's not a bad defender. I can promise you that. Wesley Fofana yesterday, right? He actually frustrated me to a point where I was like, and this was in a good way because I was frustrated not because of his performance, but because of his unavailability. Like, this guy is never available. And every time he's available, he gives us the glimpses of what he can do. He's the same as Romeo Lavia. These guys are so good on the pitch, but they're barely on the pitch. So I just got to give him credit. I think right now we're having problems with our center backs because we don't have like an actual pairing. So when you look at other teams, right? For example, you can talk about Arsenal. It doesn't matter which game they're playing. If they're not resting their players, if they're playing their first team players, you already know they're playing Saliba and Gabriel. The other reason they might not play them is maybe because they are resting them again, like I said, or maybe there's injuries. We don't have that kind of center backs we can rely on week in and week out in the sense of like the partnership. Sometimes we play Fofana, Achampong, and sometimes we play Chalobah, Achampong, Tosin Chalobah. So because of the rotation that we keep doing at the back, and Sanchez, as much as yesterday was good, and in many games he has been good, there's still many more games that he wasn't good. So we don't have that stability at the back. I think in our first 11 or whatever first 11 that Maresca put out, I think our midfielders is the one that's kind of consistent in terms of like the players that we expect to see on the pitch. If it's not Enzo, it's Lavia. If it's not Lavia, it's Caicedo. Those 3, or maybe sometimes Santos, but we don't get to change as much in the midfield as we do at the back or the front line. So yeah, we need Fofana to be available. Yesterday, he played really well. Now, my 3rd point, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this for the millionth time right now. I've said this so many times. Moses Caicedo is the best in the world. Now, if you want to make an argument about Rodri, I can listen to that. Now, a lot of people don't want to mention Declan Rice in the same category because they say Declan Rice is being played as an 8, which is fair. Now, Caicedo plays more as a 6. But if you actually watch this guy playing, he can be a box-to-box midfielder. He can pass the ball quite all right. He can break the lines in terms of forward passing. He can break the counter pressing. This guy can do everything. He can assist, he can score. And I'm happy for him this season because he's actually brought goals and assists to his game. Now, we knew already that he's a good number 6. But now this season, right, he's bringing goals and assists. And whenever he scores goals, it's not just a regular goal. It's a masterpiece. So yeah, man, I just gotta listen. I'm tired of having to fight for him, because numbers speaks for themselves. This guy, the amount of duels he won, the amount of passes completion, like this guy is everything you want in a player. And the fact that he's also always available, it scares me for a second because I don't want to run him like I did N'Golo Kante to the ground. However, he's always available. So please give credit to my guy. Now I want to talk about Garnacho for a second as my 4th point. I wasn't happy with Garnacho. I was never happy when we signed him. I said I didn't want Garnacho because of his attitude. Now, in terms of maybe his talent, you can say, okay, he's a player that might go on to improve. If he plays around good players with a good coach, he might go on to improve. But he thinks he's a Cristiano Ronaldo, and yet he has a quality of a Garnacho. Listen, this guy hasn't been played for, I would say, 80 or 90 minutes. But he has been played. He has been given a chance. Chelsea's squad has always been a squad where we rotate a lot. Even from last season, we were rotating. So we're always going to keep rotating, especially for the fact that we have so many games in the Champions League. FA Cup hasn't even started. We played in the Club World Cup, so we are fatigued. So we are going to have rotation. And remember as well, Garnacho joined us at the back end of the transfer window, so he didn't really have a preseason. The fact that he's actually being played 65 or so minutes, to me, is even more than good enough. But every time he gets substituted, he's showing negative vibes, as if he's obligated to play 90 minutes. Estevao gets substituted all the time. Terry George gets substituted all the time. Gittens, same thing. Even Jalpe, sometimes Caicedo even gets rested. But you don't hear them complaining, and you just join the club. We didn't want you in the first place. Now, when you play regular. You play like basic, I meant to say. And yet you complain when you're getting substituted. So I'm not happy with Garnacho. So maybe we should put him on the bomb squad alongside Disasi and Sterling, because I don't like his attitude. I never did like his attitude. I thought maybe coming to Chelsea he might change and trying to prove United fans wrong. But he's still doing the same thing anyway. So, yeah, I wasn't happy with him at all. He's actually being ungrateful because he's actually being played. There's so many players on the bench that I can actually name and say these players are good or they're better than Garnacho, and yet they're not being given the chance to play. And him is being given the chance to play. I could have played Estevao. I could have played Gittens before Garnacho. So, yeah, not happy with him. Now, my last point. We need to be consistent. We need to be consistent. And I say this the 3rd time. We need to be consistent. Why do I say this? You can't go to Sunderland. You lose a game against Sunderland. And then you go to Tottenham. You win a game. Before then, you win a game against Liverpool. And then you play, really, every time we play the big teams, we are so focused. But when we play the teams that we are supposed, or on paper we are supposed to win, we shit the bed. Listen, if we want to compete either for top 4, for maybe cup competition, or maybe even the league itself, we need to be consistent. And it goes back to us being clinical as well, because it's not that we're not creating chances. We are creating chances, but we're just not putting them to bed. And that's the number 1 or major problem. So yeah, we need to be consistent. Right now, we are going to play Wolves in the Premier League next game. I don't even have faith in beating Wolves than I did have faith in beating Tottenham. I don't know. It's so Chelsea that we go on to win a big game and then we go on to lose a small game. But anyway, people, while we're still in the celebration of these 3 points, I'm just going to say I'll see you guys on the next video. So yeah, make sure you do.